You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Hello. Welcome to the Mushie Moment for today, May 2nd, and somebody's birthday, 2023. We are here live on paceradio.net, cbgtv.com, through Facebook, YouTube, Twitter sometimes, Boxcast, LinkedIn. Of course, Boxcast is on your Roku and on your Fire Stick. And you can always catch all the replays on all the different places we stream. Happy birthday, Steve.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a happy 50-12 today.
50-12. Happy 50-12. Yep, on your way to 50-13.
Just around the corner now.
I think that's great. I can't wait to be 50 while I can. But, when I get there, I'm definitely calling it 50-12. I'm 40-11 right now.
Oh, man, I could have gone back that far and made it like 50-22.
40-22.
40-22. Oh, yeah, I don't want to be. Well, I'm getting there anyway.
You'd be 4-2 twice.
I've never been good with numbers.
422. That's hilarious. 422.
Speaking of 420,
yeah,
you flew out here for 420.
I did, amongst many other things, but 420 was definitely the catalyst that got me there. And as you can probably hear, my voice is still suffering.
Yeah. Where do we want to start with the 420 adventure?
Well, I showed up a few days before 420, and we went and drank some epic coffee. Like, if you're ever in Vancouver or if you live in Vancouver, let me tell you, go to Milano Coffee. Holy frigging shit. Like, I don't drink coffee, but they make the most amazing mochas, and I met the owner, Brian, who is also a master coffee bean roaster. And he really knows what he's doing. And I know it has really nothing to do with cannabis or psychedelics or any of it, but man, that's really how my 420 started, was with like the most amazing cup of coffee at Milano Coffee.
That was coffee as a plant medicine, and it was good for the soul. Thank you, Brian Turco. Milano Coffee, not doing a plug other than the fact that it's the world's best coffee, man. The guy has a coffee heart. He's full of love. He's a monster. He probably wouldn't want us calling him a master roaster, but in my view, there is no better.
No, I mean, yeah, he's. I've had a lot of, locally roasted coffees around Nova Scotia when I was big time into coffee, and nothing has compared to that. I believe what do they call that? I got that first mocha, and until we got back, I was like, searching for it again. Nothing compared to
it. Yeah. It was a perfect way to start the 420 adventures.
It was. And then we followed that up with actually, before 420, we ran off and decided that we had to go do some, besides coffee, some other natural medicine.
What did we do?
What did we do? We did the real, food sweat bufo, which was pretty incredible. I have done the 5-MeO, the pure molecule version a few times before this, but this was my first time doing, the actual toad venom, and it was incredible. And this was your second time running around doing toad venom.
Yes, and it was with Miriam, who we had on the program at one time previously here. Look at that! Oh, thank you. And I would have to say, incredibly life changing.
Yeah.
The walking through the world of frog and toad medicines wasn't actually on my radar. I'm a plant medicine kind of guy. And, you were looking that avenue, and I said, what about me?
And I said, come with me.
And I have to say that the life-changing aspects of what they contribute towards the healing for my CPTSD, and for what they've shown me, what they've allowed me to reach. It's just such a hard thing to explain, but as a CPTSD person, there's certain levels of calm that aren't in my existence that I've known. And the bufo allowed me to find a place where my body relaxed, my brain relaxed, everything relaxed. And then my brain started to work going, what is this place? And how the fuck do I find this again? Because this is incredible. And I didn't know it existed. I believed it existed. Here it is. How do I get here again? And it was actually quite a struggle. There was a lot of emotional release that came along with it, etc. Going the second time, going up with you when you came down, and going up and experiencing it a second time for me, allowed my brain to go to a place of rest and go, oh, I can't get us here. We have to undo so much stuff that we've put together to get here. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. Are you grasping what I'm saying?
I am. I am for sure. I believe what you're saying is the first time you went, you found a place of rest. And when you came back and you were living your everyday life, you struggled to how to get there again. And then when we went up, one of the things that it taught you was you've got too much to release to get yourself there. So we need to release all of this stuff. And this is where your work needs to be before you can achieve what you want.
Nicely put. Yes, that's verbally well presented. Yes.
Yeah. With me, there were two people that I put a lot of blame on for what happened to me when I was a little kid. And not because they did anything, it's because they didn't stop anything, So in previous bufo journeys and iboga journeys, I have learned to forgive one of them greatly, like amazingly. And it's been absolutely phenomenal. And this bufo journey, I went in with the intention of love, and it gave me forgiveness and love for the other person, and I didn't realize I was searching for it. I thought I had already achieved it, but I guess I was wrong, because it gave me a crap load. And I'm really thankful for that. It was pretty beautiful. And the question I've gotten a few times now, both from Miriam and then in turn from Gareth, and then a couple other people, are they different?
Yes, I was just going to ask that. How did you find them different or the
Ooh,
same?
putting that into words, which you now know, but that'll come later in this episode. Putting that into words about how they are different. They are incredibly different, but yet incredibly identical. And I know that that sounds completely confusing, but it's true. They are both the pure molecule. One is coming directly from the frog, and the other one is they're extracting the pure molecule. They both, in my belief now that I've done them both, they both embody the spirit of that toad. They do. I think I found the true bufo, like the bufo that comes from the toad. I think that I found that to be faster. I got more thrown at me quicker than I did with the pure molecule. But the toad, it's only one. You take one vape. That's all it is. Once you take that vape, you are off on your journey. You don't vape again. With the pure molecule, you do. The first time I did 5-MeO, I had 3 ceremonies that time. And then the second time I only had 2, which is what the average is. Most people do 2, but the first time I went with the pure molecule, I had 3 ceremonies because I knew when I came back from the second one, I wasn't done. When I did the bufo with Miriam, I didn't need to take any more. When I was coming back, she brought out music in it and chant. I think she had the drum, and she was playing the drum and she was chanting, and she had got me to release the death grip I had on her. Steve wasn't quite so lucky yet. I still had him in a death grip in the other hand. But she took me back out. I went back out like on what I believe a second journey, just via the music that was in the room. And that was pretty incredible. So very similar, but very different. When I come back with both of them, I'm so full of love and I'm so full of peace and I'm just so full of all of the goodness. They both give me that beautiful sense of peace and love and quiet. And, I'm very thankful for them.
Yes.
If that makes any sense to anybody, because I know I was probably talking in circles. I truly believe that Steve probably understood because he's kind of been there.
Yeah, our language is it's hard to put some of the ethereal, mystical, whatever you want to call them, parts of the journeys into words. But yes, it happens in your brain. But your brain, with the proper integration, and that's what I'm finding. That's where we got to go next, is on the integration of what we've, experienced. But before that, we do have to get to the 420 ends because, this is the prior to the 420 end. Yeah, it allows you to find a place of peace physically, mentally, and spiritually that you're not able to because of your resonant frequency and patterns that you've created and the stress level, minimal stress level, which is a high stress level. It's just your minimal. And because of that, you don't have the ability to feel the nuances down below that unless they harmonize with trauma, because then you can go as deep as it goes. You can feel the most subtle resonant harmonies of trauma because that is what you've slowly become in your resonance. But this allows you to let all of that go and find that place of true existence where in that moment everything is at peace. And it's possible to find it again. If we can find it, we know it's possible. The other things I'm learning is the subtle messages that people have been telling me for years, like, you should do yoga. You should do yoga. Hey, do you practice meditation? You should meditate. the really subtle versions, like those ones that I was missing.
That's not really subtle. That's people are coming along and hitting you with the hammer, Steve. Like, I mean, what would
I'm
be
starting to hear it.
You know what I do? I do this wonderful yoga, and it helps me this, and it helps me that, and it helps me something else. That's them subtly telling you to do yoga. Just, FYI.
It's teaching me about subtle gestures and things that never existed for me before that. But it's, it's beautiful. It's opening up a lot of stuff. I have to say, it's opening up a lot of emotion. There's a lot of subtle emotion that I didn't even know existed. And I guess I've just been stuffing that down for years. And we'll talk about that later. I'm just going to stuff that down for now. And let's get on to the 420 adventure.
Yeah, so we went and we had this amazing bufo experience with an amazing lady that was up here from Mexico. We've had her on the show. You've all met her.
Thank you, Mary.
And then we took a day off to do some integration and just kind of hang out, which I think we visited it and we were busy anyway. But we did do a lot of integration, and we did, there was a lot of relaxing with the visiting. And then we went to the Amsterdam Cafe on the 19th for the 420 Cup, hosted by Asia Moon, and got really, really, really high.
Honestly, I never thought in my life I would ever say too much, but I can honestly say now that was too much. And as much as I always thought I wanted to judge a competition, I'm glad I did it, but I probably might not do it again.
Well, it's different. Like, that was a different kind of competition. Like there was two competitions that went on. The 420 Cup, which was mailed out to judges, and we had a couple of weeks to judge everything that was there. So that was way easier than going into the 42 Live and basically having 42 samples to judge in one night. Because there were 5 or 6 edibles. There was the 3 samples of cannabis that came with our VIP kits, and then there were 7 more that were handed out.
We were on number 7 when they handed us extract number 13, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, we were on number 7 of what they handed out, but we had already smoked 3 before that. We were on edible number 2, and then we were actually rolling cannabis number 10 at that point in time. And they were handing us extract 13, and there were more extracts to come. Altogether, between what was in the kit, what we were handed, there were 42 samples that we were given that night. 42.
Not complaining. Thank you.
Yeah, most of them were concentrates.
Yeah, I never thought that smoking would be a chore, but it actually was a bit of a chore.
Yeah, when you're judging a competition, it sure is. I have in the past I've judged a few of them that are mail out, so you get a couple of weeks. But even the Karma Cup, you get 2.5 weeks to do the Karma Cup, but it's still work because if you take a break one day, you have to double up the next day, and it's a lot of work. And they give you like in the competition that we did, it's like, hey, pick your favorite. But in the competition like the Karma Cup or other ones, you actually rate each one that you have. So you have to sit there and smell it and dry haul it and do everything and rate it out and give it scores out of 9 or 10, depending on which competition. I mean, all of them are a ton of work. Are they a ton of fun? Oh yeah, I mean, I had a blast the night.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it was a good time. Mercules walked in, bunch of other rappers that I have no idea who they were, but people went crazy walked in, because I'm not into R&B or rap. I mean, I'm an old-fashioned, rock and roll girl. But I mean, and then of course the grower of all growers, Remo, comes in the door, and it was, so we had a few, celebrities show up, and then it was packed with, just cannabis lovers from straight across the country. I mean, I was there from Nova Scotia. We had people from the States, actually, people from Saskatchewan.
Quite a few known activists, as you're saying.
Yeah. It was pretty amazing to have everybody there. We had a couple of great hosts. that were hosting the night, and it was a great time. And the fact that every 5 seconds they came along of, this is sample number blah 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 blah, and you're like, fuck. Like, I mean, I don't want to complain, but I mean, it was hard work.
I never thought in my life I would say, wow, that was too much. But I gotta say, for me, and that was, for me, that was too much. There was people there that, man, that was their world, and they were rocking.
They didn't leave with samples at all, and I still have a medtainer full of. Not to mention, those funky joints that I bought, I still have some left.
I guess that's a sign that we're getting older.
Shh. I'm only 40-11. I'm in my 40s. I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
I have found, though, that as even when I started utilizing the mushrooms and the microdosing, that dropped my level of cannabis consumption down. And as I find levels of healing, I find it just adjusts the amount that
I need.
Yeah, that I need. The body just goes, no, I'm good. Which is strange, because I've grown up, for many years. There was no, I'm good. It was just keep going. If I find a good enough strain, it might get me to that place where the brain will shut up.
Yeah. And I have found strains that help. I find that edibles help more than that. But I find that I'm using cannabis more and only really for physical pain and social anxiety. Because for me, when I'm out with my friends socially, smoking a joint is a way of having a conversation, because you can spark the conversation with, oh, what strain is that? Oh, I like that. I don't like that. Oh, I like this strain. Talk about other strains. It's a great way to start a conversation too. So for me, the smoking of it is more of a social anxiety thing. And then I eat it for pain. And like you, the more I heal, the less I need. And the less I need, the lower my tolerance goes. So therefore, the less I need.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I actually never really realized that I was using anything for medical until I was told you should get a medical license for the way you utilize stuff.
Yep.
And then when I got the license, and the brain got going, oh, I should look this up. And then it was like, oh, I've used this for medical my whole life, not even knowing I've been using it for medical purposes.
Same. I got it, and I'm like, now I got a piece of paper. I can smoke a joint and not get hassled by the cops. That's why I begged for it in the first place. And because I only smoked it at that point in time. And then somebody gave me, one of the dispensaries around, they gave me a week's worth of cannabis caps and said, try these. And I said, okay, take them twice a day, 12 hours apart, blah, blah, blah. So I did. And on day 3, I was starting to cut out my pharmaceuticals. And that's when I knew this stuff is good for me. I knew it just by the way that it cut out my pills.
And me, I was handing it out for cancer patients and, people that were in need of it for all these healing modalities, not even realizing that, hey, if I took it that same way, ingesting it, it'll do those same things for me. And it changed my life.
Yeah. Yep. It also, it led me, I will forever be thankful to cannabis and forever love it. It led me to mushrooms, or back to mushrooms. And mushrooms showed me that, the mushrooms and the LSD I did as a kid, I wasn't doing a drug. I was taking medicine, and, I look at those nights and I go, wow. Those were the times that I was actually allowing myself to be me when I was taking LSD or mushrooms, and and cannabis brought me back to that. And then, the mushrooms led me to iboga. Iboga led me to 5-MeO. It all led me to having amazing friends that are introducing me to other things, such as birthday boy over here. So cannabis is, it is lovingly my gateway medicine. And it has given me an open door to medicines that have quite literally saved my life.
And that segues us God segues us.
Perfect timing to go to break. And that means it is time to hear from our sponsors. I got to click a button. Time to hear from our sponsors. Pay some bills. You are watching Mushie Moment here on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Boxcast, CBG TV, and Pace Radio networks. And we will be back in just over 3 minutes.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Cannabis edibles are an effective way to manage pain and other ailments, especially when you deal with your trusted partner, Legacy 420, in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. You see, we lab test every product on site to ensure proper dosage every time, which is critical when consuming cannabis edibles. All Legacy 420 edibles are made by our classically trained baker and chocolatier, and we also have super tasty vegan options.
Our baker has been in the industry for 25 years. She's also a chocolatier. Everything from savory to sweet, your chocolate bars, brownies, butter tarts, you name it, we make it.
Talk to our knowledgeable Cannatex about our incredible variety available. Give your trusted partners a call. Legacy 420 out on your road.
In February of 2022, the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club and Ted Smith were fined $6.5 million. This for helping 8,500 patients with access to medical cannabis. In our interview with Ted, he spoke to us about how people can donate to help in an upcoming court challenge. And here is part of that interview. From what I've seen lately, I believe that you've got something that you're trying to do as far as fundraising to deal with this next court challenge.
For now, people can write checks directly to Jack Lloyd Law Corporation or send e-transfers to save the VCBC at gmail.com. I guess those are the two easiest ways for people to help right now.
Pace Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Welcome back to the Mushie Moment. I caught myself just in time. We are here live at paceradio.net and cbgtv.com, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and of course we're over on Boxcast on the Roku and the Fire Sticks. And welcome back. Last we were here, we were talking about 419 and the 420 cup. So we smoked way too much cannabis, ended up bringing the rest of our samples home, passed out because we were so freaking high. And then we got up the next day early and ran off to Thornton Park for 420.
Yes, we did.
Oh,
hang on. I'm going to play a little video.
Okay.
I thought it was going to come up and then we'd have to hit it. But are you ready? Here we go.
Guinness World Records, 62 plus pound joint. About to go down Vancouver 420.
Okay. So how do I get rid of that now?
You removed the wrong one.
Vancouver 420.
Hey, look at me messing up. Anyways, that was did they get the world record thing for that? That is the world record, apparently, biggest joint.
Yeah, they had it. There was I believe there was a Guinness person on site, or like a Guinness Book of World Records on site. And we should actually reach out to Pat Warnicki. He was one of the people involved in putting that all together. And I mean, that was actually his video we were just watching, I believe.
Yes, I think I scooped it off his feed. So
yeah.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks, Pat. He was one of the rollers and transporters, et cetera, et cetera. They had to bring the thing in 3 sections in the back of a pickup truck.
And it was somebody says in there it was 63 plus pounds or 62 plus pounds, something like that.
I think there was 61.5. It was the end total. They were going for 61 because that's what they needed, and I think they got just over. But like, I mean, it was bigger than my head. It was huge.
Huh. Hey, let's show them how huge one more time.
Okay.
Guinness World Records. 62 plus pound joint. About to go down Vancouver 420.
62 plus pounds, he said. Yeah. Yeah. So they were going for 61 and they got 62 plus pounds. It's
Wow.
pretty amazing. I'm pretty proud of them. I don't know how it smoked. I haven't investigated that far yet. But again, we should reach out to Pat and just ask him one of these times because he would know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you were to just give 3 of the biggest high points of 420 day, not the 419 before, the 420 day, what would be your 3 biggest high points?
The 3 of them. Well, I'm glad you gave me 3. The first one would be Fred. Without a doubt, Fred. We met a friend on the 19th. His name was Fred. His daughter brought him out to the Amsterdam and rolled all of his joints for him. And we shared all of our samples with him. And we had a great time. And he was a great guy. And he was one of the first people that came up to the booth on 420. So Fred was definitely a highlight. Pretty amazing guy.
Yeah, that was
very, very
awesome.
happy that we ran into him. The next thing is sparking a joint for 420. And then all of a sudden you hear Afro Man. Because I got high. Because I... Excuse me? We had Afro Man show up at Thornton Park and he sang Because I Got High at 420 with Mercules. And even though I wasn't in front of the stage because it was monsoon fucking rain, I still got to enjoy Afro Man, really Afro Man, at 420 on 420. And the third one that popped in my head when you asked that was the taxi driver.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So let's tell them about the
Well,
John.
this really excited guy came running up from like the crosswalk or the sidewalk. I didn't see that he was coming from a car, but Steve did, I believe, and thought that maybe he was a passenger in the taxi. So this guy came up, asked a bunch of questions. I wanted this. I wanted this. He wanted some gummies. He wanted some mushroom doses. So he picked what he wanted. He wheeled and dealed with Steve. Got himself a deal. Was quite proud of himself. And he took his wares and he went running back in and hopped in the driver's side of the taxi and off he went.
Oh, that's why we use Uber.
So hi, Carolyn.
Oh.
So yeah, it was a time. It was a lot of fun. Before it got too monsoony, I did get a chance to get out and walk around a couple of times. And I picked up some. We were cold because it was rainy and damp. I didn't want to roll joints. I didn't think anybody was going to be really up for rolling joints. So I bought a bunch of pre-rolled moon rocks of various types, and that didn't help our cause from the night before. Because there was more concentrates and more keef and more hash. And so that's what we smoked all day 420 and woke up on the 21st. Oh my God, everything was just swollen.
Yeah, it took a while to hack out a bunch of the stuff. It was just...
So your 3 highlights.
My 3 highlights. Well, you stole one of them.
No, you can say the same as me. You can share a highlight.
Well, setting up the table and looking up and seeing Fred standing there, that was just awesome. Like, seriously, that was just like, what are the odds that, the first person you're going to see while you're setting up is
Fred.
Fred. It was awesome. Then watching you be all excited because Afro Man was
So you kind of share that. You kind of share too with me, but more of I really was. It was my 20-year-old excitement coming out that Afro Man was there, right? Whatever age I was when that song came out, that's how old I was in that moment, and I was super excited.
and it was pretty awesome to see.
Thanks.
And then the third moment was you and Adam had gone off to get something to eat or find us some food or something and check things out. And I was like, yeah, I'll just man the booth. And that monsoon whipped up and that rain came flooding down. And then the tent blew right off, and I was sitting there with no tent in the monsoon with the tent upside down on the ground behind me, kind of thank God we had a tree there to stop it from blowing across the field. But what was amazing was the amount of people that just came running out of nowhere to help get that tent all back set up. It was freaking awesome because there was no way I could have done it by myself. I turned around and looked, kind of went, really? And then all of a sudden there was all these people there just helping me with my tent.
That's pretty beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty beautiful.
So if any of you people that did that are watching this podcast, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. There were a lot of awesome people there that day. I mean, Pat Warnicky stopped over. We ran into a friend of ours, Krista, which neither of us had met Krista face to face yet. So she was one of the first people that came over.
That was awesome.
About,
Did you see all her posts?
Yeah.
She made all those posts. It was there. It just lights up the heart, man.
When I come out in July, one of my goals is to make it over to Victoria and see her there and visit with Ted, and I think that would be really cool. Yeah.
Might have to put it on the doing it list.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Because you just hop in your new little van, you drive over there, pop that top.
That'd be great. Yeah. So just tons of highlights. Like, I mean, it was really cool before things really got going and the rain came along. I walked around and I chatted with a bunch of different people, and everybody's like, like, what are you doing here? Like, oh, I'm up here from Nova Scotia. And I mean, I got so many free joints just walking around saying I was from Nova Scotia. It was unbelievable.
Oh, don't tell people that. Everybody's going to be walking around next year saying, hey, I'm from Nova Scotia. Just kidding.
It was such a good time though. And it was monsoon rain. I don't have any picture. I wish I had grabbed a picture to put up because I didn't think I honestly didn't think I'd go.
It was so monsooning that we actually packed up and left early. My feet were soaked. I was frozen.
But
we helped a lot of people.
We did, and it didn't stop the crowds. Have you seen the pictures from the stage?
Yeah.
During the monsoon rains, it was packed. It did not stop Vancouverites from getting out and celebrating the plant. And that's pretty beautiful too. I wasn't involved in that highlight, but that was a huge highlight to see those pictures and know that people came out anyway. You couldn't stop them.
Yeah, it was a good day, even though it was a shitty day.
Yep, absolutely. And then we rested the next day because holy shit, lungs were swollen from all the smoke and all the concentrates, and it was hard. And then
got to throw a plug in before we take off from there, because we were at the At Ease booth and, educating people on microdosing and different cannabis products, how to use them, mushrooms, how to use them, etc. And now we'll move over.
And then we took a day off, and then I ran off and I took the hero dose level of mushrooms and had my hero trip, where you put your mask on and you do the inward trip. And that was crazy. It was awesome, but it was, yeah.
Okay. Now you should let people know that this was a facilitated trip and it wasn't just you.
I had a trip guide. It wasn't just me doing it. I had a paid trip guide who was there specifically to look after me for 8 hours. And besides going to the bathroom, I was not alone for 8 hours. And even when I went to the bathroom, my trip guide stood right outside the door and talked to me pretty much well, not really talked to me, but made sure I was there the entire time, made sure I was okay. So yeah, when you go and you do these big doses, you need to have a sober trip guide there to look after you. Yeah, very, very important. And I did it in a lemon tech, so it wouldn't upset the stomach, with a little bit of ginger in there, and drank it in a tea, and it didn't take very long to start working, because the lemon techs, that's what they do. And then I was off on the best way for me to explain it is it was like a spirit walk with the mushrooms for a few hours. And then I came back and I was just giggly high. But the spirit walk was pretty crazy, because during our first bufo, we had a raven that showed up and kept flying over your van. And lo and behold, when I was coming at the end of my few hours of spirit walking, I think it was just over 2.5 hours, or just under 3 hours. And I was apparently a wolf during my spirit walk, because I was freezing because my body didn't have any fur. And that's a whole other story. But when I was coming back and I was feeling myself come back into my human form from my spirit animal form, the raven appeared again on my left shoulder as a way of protecting me, I guess. And there were 2 ravens flying around outside the window.
Yeah, it was. I noticed when we were, in the realm of the of the plant medicine, or the toad medicine, that the raven seems to come around you.
Yeah, and this is the first time the raven has come around me. And then it came back with the mushrooms. And then physically there were 2. There was one that we saw, and then 2 that I saw during the mushrooms, or actually that Blair saw. She saw them flying around, but they appeared, that one appeared to me on my left shoulder. And then the next day, when you came over and we did the pure molecule medicine, they came back. I don't know if they came back physically outside, but in my visions, the raven was back again. So this entire trip, the raven was with me, and I don't really know exactly who the raven is. I can guess. Was the raven there because I was doing this medicine with my friend, and maybe that was your representation in my walk? Was it, one of my ancestors? I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm sure it will come to me eventually. I'm sure that it will open up to me eventually on who or what this raven is representing. But
if I'm not mistaken, they represent change and healing.
Well, maybe that's what's going on, right? But they were very present. Yeah, and it's pretty incredible. I was very thankful for the ravens, and I ran off and did the bufo first, and this time it was different. We did the it had to go into the sternum muscle, and I'm not picking my nose. This is where it had to go. So it had to be placed there, and then you hold it in and you lay back. And instead of vaping it, this is the first time I've done it this way. Vaping it, of course, is a very fast onset, and doing it this way where it goes into your nose, it's a very slow onset. It takes a good 15 to 20 minutes to really get it ramping up. And it was very beautiful, and it was very soft, and it was very subtle. And I really enjoyed it. It gave me a lot of information. It wasn't scary. There was nothing to be fearful of because it was so gentle, which is why I enjoy it. Everything else has been so, hey, how you doing? Here you are. And this was very, hey, we're just going to take you on a nice gentle float, and we're going to get there in a minute. Don't worry. Here we go. Isn't this nice? And it was really beautiful. And then I vaped it twice with that, and I got a lot of information with the first vape especially. And my facilitator, Gareth, he knows me well at this point in time because I've gone to him for medicine a number of times in the past, and I've gotten to know him. And he's like, you know what, I think you should go again. And I did. And taking his advice was so beautiful, because I think I learned in that one that it's okay to look after myself and be selfish and do something for just me. And I think that's the first time that I've ever known that. Look, I'm going to cry. Your turn. You talk. And then Steve went, so I'm done.
We're supposed to learn that that's not being selfish, that's called self-care.
Self-care. Yes. So anyway, I learned that because that one was all about me. And the molecule showed me that, it was all about me. And every time I tried to let somebody else in from the sidelines, it said, no, this is yours and yours alone. And the birds were all there representing my family and the raven, but they were way big over there. And I kept wanting them to come over, and the molecule said, no, this is for you. This is all about you. Just enjoy. This is your time. So it took me a few minutes, and I eventually said, okay, it's my time. And I relaxed, and it was the most beautiful, colorful thing I have ever seen in my mind's eye.
Oh, that's the best way that could have been put, even for my experience. There was the bit of the struggle of letting go and letting myself accept that I deserve to feel that perfect description of what it was that you gave. The only thing I can say is it's probably the closest thing I could dream of to unconditional love.
Oh, it is so unconditional love. The first time I ever took any 5-MeO of any kind, about 2 years ago now, and what I got from my first vape, and they said, and again, it was supposed to be a handshake dose, and I'm so susceptible, I'm so open to the medicine that it was a flood dose. I got flooded, and I was off, and it was incredible, and whatever you want to call the higher power, God, Lord, Creator, Universe, Mother Nature, whatever you want to call that higher power, came down and wrapped me in a weighted blanket of love and just let me know that is what life is all about.
Yes.
And it was incredibly beautiful. And, and every time I work with the medicine, that's what it shows me. It shows me I do work, yeah, but then it always shows me pure love, Cindy love. And I'm getting hit with it now. It's just like, love yourself, love others, forgive yourself, forgive others. And it's the most incredible medicine I have ever taken.
It's an incredible, powerful cognitive dissonance creator, because it gives you something that you believe exists, but that you've never participated in. And it shows you that it's there, and it teaches you that you have to let go of a lot of your things to participate there. In that way that it's always there. We've created all these boundaries to relax into it because of our traumas and our behaviors around the traumas, and then the traumas that the behaviors create, and that never-ending loop, and the noise in the head. Like for me, the every one of them, whether it was the bufo or the molecule, I struggled to silence my questioning brain. The big difference I found between doing the ceremony with Miriam and doing the session with Gareth's was longer and, for me, more logical and less emotional, which made my brain shut up and listen. But my integration afterwards has been really tough because it releases a lot of the emotion that I've stored or ignored and I gotta say, this last little while since we've done it, man, there's been a little bit of struggling going on. I do my little experiments, and I go, okay, I'm going to do a day without doing any microdosing and without doing my vitamins, and just see where I'm naturally sitting. Well, I can tell you that right now is the wrong time between the Mercury retrograde, the solar flares that are blasting, that are creating like lots of electromagnetic issues for people, hearts, emotion, all that type of stuff. All of that going on right now. It for me is the wrong time to I had to go back to making sure I'm microdosing and holding it in. It's been a lot of emotional release. I can see that it's just releasing a lot of space within me to fill with that unconditional love that I know is there. And there's the part that the medicine told me, it's all good, just let it go and fall into place and be. So I gotta say, walking that's been a bit of a struggle, but I'm happy to be doing it. I can see we're getting close to the end of time, so we got to run out.
It's 51. We're okay.
Oh, is it okay? I'm happy.
Minutes. I got it.
Okay, yeah, it's I've had a bit of an emotional struggle over the last little bit. I got to say, I'm surrounded by beautiful people. I've got you, I've got John, I've got Lisa, I've got members of my family. People have been holding me up and supporting me in my learning to emote in a healthy way and struggling with releasing my emotions and being okay that I'm emoting. And, it's, I'm used to emoting anger. I'm used to letting things build so that I blow up. And, I'll go away and blow up somewhere else, and then I'll go and lay and recover from my blow up, and then I'll come out. That used to be my pattern that I'd evolved to. And, when you blow up, we have these visions that we're blowing up at something, and no, you're not. You're blowing up your heart. Why, when people are having anger fits, why do people have heart attacks when they're having anger fits? Because you're blowing up from your heart. You're blowing your heart up. You're doing yourself a complete injustice and harming yourself. And it's really nice now to know that I don't have to live that way, and that I can release those energies in other ways, recognize them. What was the magic words? Observe them. Don't feed them. Don't try to analyze them. Don't even try to be them, because you are being them. Quit trying. Just observe what happens and give them the space. If they're happening, it's because they're demanding that they get recognized. Recognize them. I don't know how to explain it, and my brain really struggled with this. I know that Gareth and Blair helped. There were some magic words they had that also let me go and enabled me to breathe and find that place to observe. But I have to say, it hasn't been without a struggle. And at some points, some of the questions, I had a question asked me, when does the medicine end? When does and in my research of when does the medicine end? When does the healing happen? I've had to analyze two different things. And one is, where is it in the pathway of the natural medicine? And I've had to re-listen to words that my psych doctor said. In moments where I emote like I am, and I get scared of the emotion, and I go into depression because I'm having that emotion, he would say, oh, this is where I would double up your Ativan. So maybe you should just make your microdose just a little bit stronger in here, because you should be feeling this. It's okay to feel this, but your PTSD makes you feel it twice as much as this is healthy. So just take a little extra medicine here so that you feel it at a healthy level. And I've really had to listen to those words. And as I integrate feeling emotions and learning subtleties in life.
It's not easy. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. It's emotionally draining. It's physically draining. It's mentally draining. But in the end, it eliminates all the harmful energy that I've been storing, which can make room for the new version of energy that I'm conscious of seeking and surrounding myself with. Uh-oh, we went into one of them deep places.
We did. But you want to know what happened? We got it recorded this time.
Wow.
We've been trying to do that for about a year, folks.
It's okay to do that. That's fucking scary. Hey, people out there, just so you know, it's scary to be vulnerable like that. It truly is. But it's very empowering and it's very healing. And the fear that I felt through this, I want to thank you, any of you that watch this or are watching this or that are here with us. I want to thank you, Cindy, for sharing this time of healing energy with me. It's very powerful, and in this moment is changing my life for the better.
That's beautiful, Steve.
And on that note, it's time to...
My cat is trying to crawl up my leg.
That's because your cat knows it's time for us to run the thank you and the hey, should I read it?
Sure, why don't you read it?
Okay, hang on. Do I go to banners or brand? I go to brand. Hang on, just getting ready. Hang on, people. Okay, and then I say, well, it's that time again. Thank you for joining us here on the Mushie Moment with my co-host Cindy, myself, and our awesome guests, us. We're proud to be coming to you live from paceradio.net, cbgtv.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Boxcast, Roku, and Firestick. See you next week and more excited with more exciting guests and healing information. Much love. And
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBGTV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net. You're listening